Welcome to CATFACTSFUNNY. This is not a story about training or ownership or how to make a cat love you. It is about something quieter and much harder to describe. The moment when a cat stops treating your life as a temporary arrangement and begins to settle into it as something permanent. For many people, this moment goes unnoticed at first. There is no clear beginning, no sudden change in behavior that announces itself. Life continues as it always has, while something underneath it slowly shifts. A cat that once observed from a distance now rests nearby. A presence that once came and went now remains. This video is about that quiet transition. About what it means when a cat does not merely live in your home, but begins to experience you as home. A place where the body softens, vigilance fades, and stillness feels safe. Home is a feeling, not a place. For a cat, home is not defined by rooms or furniture. It is not the shape of a house or the familiarity of a routine. Home is a physical sensation, a nervous system state where alertness is no longer constant, where the body is allowed to rest without interruption. A cat may live in many places throughout its life and never feel truly at home. Food can be present, warmth can be reliable, and yet the cat remains watchful, light sleeper, always prepared to move. This is not fear, it is survival quietly maintained. When a cat begins to feel at home with a person, something internal changes. Muscles loosen, sleep deepens. The cat no longer positions itself for quick escape. Instead, it allows its body to exist fully in the moment, trusting that nothing urgent will be required of it. This is why a cat choosing you as home often has little to do with affection. It has everything to do with how it feels to exist near you when nothing is happening. The absence of pressure, the predictability of your presence, the quiet understanding that stillness will not be interrupted. The gradual nature of the choice. A cat does not decide all at once. The choice unfolds gradually, through a series of subtle adjustments that are easy to miss unless you are paying close attention. The cat begins to remain in the room when you move. It no longer lifts its head at every sound. It chooses positions that face away from you, exposing itself in ways it never did before. These changes are not performances. They are not behaviors meant to communicate. They are instinctive responses that only occur when a cat no longer feels the need to monitor its surroundings constantly. The body reacts first. The mind follows later. Over time, proximity becomes easier. The cat sits closer without touching. Then one day it does. Not dramatically, simply because it feels natural. Because the space beside you has become emotionally neutral, then emotionally safe. This is how the choice is made. Quietly, without permission, without ceremony. A slow realization that remaining is easier than leaving. Why some cats take longer to choose. Not every cat arrives at this decision quickly. Some cats carry histories that taught them caution. They may have learned that closeness can disappear without warning, or that environments change suddenly and without explanation. For these cats, distance is not indifference, it is protection. When such a cat is near you, it may watch rather than approach. It may accept care without surrendering closeness. It may seem content, yet emotionally guarded. This does not mean the cat is incapable of choosing. It means the choice carries greater weight. When a cautious cat finally settles, when it begins to rest deeply near you, the decision has been considered carefully. It is not impulsive. It is not temporary. It reflects a long internal process of observation, testing, and emotional calculation. And when that choice is made, it is often quieter than expected. The cat does not suddenly become needy or expressive. Instead, it simply stays. It remains. It no longer keeps one foot emotionally outside the room. The moment you realize you've been chosen. Most people remember the moment they understood. Not because something dramatic happened, but because something stopped happening. The cat no longer leaves when you enter the room. It no longer startles awake at small movements. It no longer treats your presence as something to monitor. You may notice the cat waiting for you, not out of hunger, but out of familiarity. or settling beside you during moments of emotional quiet, as if drawn there without conscious thought, or sleeping in positions that leave it vulnerable, trusting that nothing will disturb it. This is often when the realization arrives. The cat is not simply sharing space anymore. It has integrated you into its sense of safety. Your presence has become part of the environment it relies on to feel at ease. This is what people mean when they say a cat has chosen them. Not ownership, not preference, but belonging. What being chosen truly means. Being chosen as home is not a reward. It is an ongoing relationship that asks for consistency rather than effort. It asks you to remain emotionally predictable, to respect distance without interpreting it as rejection, and to understand that closeness may shift while trust remains intact. A cat that sees you as home does not require constant attention. It requires emotional stability, the freedom to approach and withdraw without consequence, the assurance that its boundaries will not be tested or challenged. This choice is fragile only when misunderstood. When honored, it becomes remarkably resilient. Even during periods of distance or change, the cat remembers where it feels safe to rest, and that memory shapes everything that follows. When home becomes mutual, over time, something subtle begins to happen when a cat has chosen you as home. The relationship stops feeling one-sided. What began as the cat resting within your presence slowly becomes a shared rhythm, where both of you adjust without effort or discussion. The cat learns the emotional contours of your life, the quiet days, the heavy ones, the nights that stretch longer than expected, and begins to position itself within them naturally. You may notice that the cat appears during moments when you are still, reflective, or emotionally tired, even if it disappears during busier hours. This is not coincidence. Cats are deeply responsive to emotional atmosphere, and once they have chosen a home, they recognize when that home needs quiet company rather than interaction. Their presence becomes less about seeking comfort and more about offering it, in the only way they know how, by staying. In these moments, the cat is no longer just resting near you. It is mirroring a state of calm, reinforcing it through shared stillness. The relationship settles into something that feels balanced, unspoken, and deeply familiar. Neither of you demands more than the other can give. The connection exists comfortably in the background of life, steady and undramatic. This is when the meaning of home expands. It is no longer simply where the cat feels safe. It becomes a space you share, shaped by trust, patience, and a mutual understanding that presence alone can be enough. The quiet meaning of being chosen. When a cat chooses you as home, it does not change who it is. It simply allows you closer to who it has always been. The independence remains. The boundaries remain. But underneath them is a quiet decision to stay, emotionally, not just physically. This kind of bond does not demand constant closeness, and it does not disappear during distance. It lives in the confidence that returning is always possible, that rest will be respected, and that stillness will be met with stillness. It is a form of trust that grows not through action, but through restraint. If you've lived this experience, you know how gently it settles into your life. Often, you only recognize it in hindsight, when you realize that the cat has been there, consistently, during moments that required nothing more than quiet companionship. If you'd like to continue exploring these subtle emotional connections, the moments when animals communicate without words, you're welcome to stay here. A shared stillness. If you've experienced this quiet transition with a cat, you know how deeply it settles into you. Even though it never announces itself, it changes how you understand connection and how you measure trust. A cat choosing you as home is one of the most honest relationships an animal can offer. It is not loud. It is not performative. It is simply present. If you'd like to continue exploring these subtle emotional moments, the language cats use when words are unnecessary, you're welcome to stay here. Subscribing helps this channel continue creating calm, thoughtful stories about the inner lives of cats. And if you remember the moment when a cat stopped treating your house as a place and began treating you as one, You're invited to share that story in the comments. Those moments matter.